The tiny seal began following Noah Ellis just after the tide started going out. At first, Noah thought it was only a dark rock rolling in the surf. He was walking barefoot along Brindle Beach, carrying a blue plastic bucket in one hand and a broken sand shovel in the other. The morning was bright but cold, with a sharp wind coming off the Atlantic and gulls crying above the dunes. Waves slid up the sand in foamy white sheets, then pulled back with a soft hiss, leaving behind shells, strands of seaweed, and the occasional crab shell polished smooth by the water. Noah was 9 years old, small for his age, with sandy hair that never stayed flat, and a serious expression that made adults say he looked thoughtful, when really he was usually just trying to understand things before they changed too quickly. And lately, everything had changed too quickly. His parents had brought him to the coast for 2 weeks because his father said they all needed fresh air and a reset. Noah did not like the word reset. It made it sound as if people were machines that could be unplugged and started over. His mother had died the previous winter after being sick for a long time, and Noah had already learned that nothing truly started over after something like that. Life kept going, yes, but differently, like a song with one instrument missing. His father, Adam, tried hard, too hard sometimes. He made pancakes shaped like animals even though they usually looked like broken islands. He put notes in Noah's lunchbox. He watched movies Noah liked even when he fell asleep halfway through. But there was a quietness between them now that neither of them knew how to cross. So that morning, while Adam slept for the first time past sunrise in months, Noah slipped out of the rented beach cottage with his bucket and went down to the shore alone. He wasn't supposed to go far. He knew that. But the cottage sat only a short path from the beach, and Noah could still see the gray roof behind the dunes if he turned around. Besides, he liked the beach when it was empty. It felt less like a place for loud families and umbrellas and more like a place where the world told the truth. The sea was big, people were small, things came and went. He was crouching to pick up a piece of green glass when he heard a soft sound behind him, a wet little grunt. Noah turned. A seal pup lay at the edge of the foam. It was tiny compared with the seals Noah had seen on signs at the harbor. Its fur was pale gray with darker spots, slick from seawater, and its round black eyes looked enormous in its small face. It lifted its head, blinked at him, and made the sound again. Noah froze. "You're not supposed to be here," he whispered. The seal pup stared. Noah looked up and down the beach. There were no other seals, no people, no lifeguard truck. Only waves, gulls, and the long empty curve of sand stretching toward the rocky point. The pup wriggled forward a few inches. Noah stepped back. He had seen posters in the ice cream shop near the pier. "Do not approach seals. Mothers may be nearby. Call marine rescue." "I'm not touching you," Noah said quickly as if the seal had accused him. "I know the rules." The pup gave a weak cry. Noah's chest tightened. It sounded almost like a baby. He took another step back, but the seal pup moved after him. Not fast. It shuffled awkwardly with its front flippers dragging its round body over the wet sand, stopping every few feet as if exhausted. Noah frowned. "Why are you following me?" The seal pup answered with another little cry. Noah glanced toward the water. "Your mom is probably out there. You should wait." The pup did not wait. It followed him. Noah walked slowly along the beach toward the cottage path, expecting the seal to stop and settle somewhere on the sand. But every time he looked back, the little animal was still behind him, leaving a strange wavy trail where its body pushed through the wet sand. After 20 yards, Noah stopped. The pup stopped too. It lifted its head and looked at him, not randomly, not like a sleepy animal sunning itself. It looked as if it wanted him to understand something. Noah's stomach felt uneasy. He ran up the beach toward the cottage. The seal pup cried behind him. Noah burst through the front door hard enough that it banged against the wall. Adam came out of the bedroom in sweatpants, hair wild, eyes full of panic. "What happened?" "There's a seal," Noah said, breathless. Adam blinked. "A what?" "A baby seal. On the beach." It followed me. Adam rubbed both hands over his face as if trying to wake up faster. Did you touch it? No, I know not to touch seals. Good. But Dad, it followed me. Adam's expression shifted. He knew Noah well enough to hear the difference between excitement and alarm. Show me. They grabbed shoes and jackets and hurried back down the sandy path. When they reached the beach, the seal pup was still there near the tide line, smaller than Adam had expected, lying on its belly with its head raised toward the dunes. Adam stopped several feet away. Oh, he said quietly. The pup saw Noah and immediately began moving toward him again. Adam held out an arm to keep Noah back. Stay behind me. I didn't do anything. I know, just stay back. Adam pulled out his phone and searched for the local marine mammal hotline printed on a sign near the beach entrance. A woman answered almost immediately. Cape Haven Marine Rescue, this is Elise. Adam explained quickly. Small seal pup, alone, following a child. Brindle Beach near the North Dunes. No visible adult seals. Elise's voice became calm and professional. Please keep at least 50 yards away if you can. Do not touch, feed, pour water on, or try to move the pup. Seals often rest on beaches while their mothers feed offshore. It keeps following my son. There was a brief pause. Following? Yes. How long has it been doing that? Noah answered loudly enough for the phone to hear. Since near the tide pools. Adam glanced down at him. Elise said, Is the pup vocalizing? Does it appear injured? Any netting, plastic, or wounds? Adam watched the seal. It's crying. I don't see blood. It looks tired. Okay, we'll send a response team. It may take 20 minutes. Keep people and dogs away. If the pup moves, observe from a distance and call us back. Adam hung up and looked around the empty beach. 20 minutes, he said. Noah stared at the pup. The seal had stopped trying to follow now. It lay on the damp sand, sides rising and falling quickly. Its eyes remained fixed on Noah. Dad, Noah whispered, what if it needs us? Adam looked toward the sea. Then help is coming. But Noah did not look reassured. For the next 10 minutes, they stood on the beach in the cold wind while the pup rested and cried in short, weak bursts. Adam tried to keep Noah distracted by asking him about shells in his bucket, but Noah barely answered. He only watched the seal. Then the pup lifted its head suddenly. It looked toward the rocky point. A low sound came from the distance. At first, Adam thought it was the wind moving through gaps in the rocks. Then it came again. A muffled bark. Noah turned sharply. Did you hear that? Adam did. The seal pup heard it too. It began moving again. Not toward Noah this time, but toward the far end of the beach where black rocks jutted into the water and tide pools filled the spaces between them. Adam's body tensed. Noah, wait! But Noah had already taken a step after it. The pup stopped and looked back. Then it cried. Adam felt the hair rise on the back of his neck. The little seal was not wandering. It was leading. Noah, Adam said slowly, stay next to me. They followed from a distance, careful not to crowd the pup. The rocky point was dangerous at low tide, full of slick stones, hidden pools, and sharp barnacles. Adam had warned Noah away from it the day they arrived. The seal pup moved clumsily, resting often, but each time it resumed, it headed straight toward the rocks. Halfway there, a white marine rescue truck appeared on the beach access road, lights flashing silently. 2 rescuers climbed out, a woman in a red waterproof jacket and a younger man carrying a large gear bag. The woman hurried toward Adam but stopped well back from the seal. I'm Elise, she said. You called? Yes, it started moving toward the rocks. We heard something. Elise looked toward the point. The muffled bark came again. Her expression changed instantly. That's not this pup. The younger rescuer, Mateo, lifted binoculars. The seal pup gave another weak cry and continued toward the rocks. Elise spoke into her radio. Possible second animal at North Rock Point. We may have entanglement or stranding. Request backup and stretcher. Noah's eyes widened. There's another seal? Elise crouched slightly to his height but kept her eyes on the pup. Maybe you did the right thing getting your dad. Noah swallowed. It followed me. I believe you. The words mattered. Noah had not realized until that moment how badly he needed an adult to say them. Together, they moved toward the rocks. The tide was pulling out, exposing more of the point with every passing minute. Water drained through narrow channels between boulders. Seaweed clung to the stone in long brown ribbons. The air smelled sharper here, heavy with salt, kelp, and something unpleasant beneath it. The pup stopped at the edge of the first rocks and cried. From beyond a cluster of boulders came an answering sound. Deeper, weaker. Elise signaled for everyone to halt. Mateo, stay with the pup. Keep distance. Adam, Noah, please stay on the sand. Noah protested immediately. But no, Adam said. The firmness in his father's voice stopped him. Elise and Mateo moved carefully over the rocks. The pup remained at the edge, trembling with effort, staring toward the sound. Noah stood beside his father, hands clenched around the bucket handle. Seconds passed. Then Elise shouted, "We've got an adult female!" Mateo called back, "Entangled?" "Badly, netting around neck and flipper. She's trapped between rocks." Noah's face went pale. "The baby's mom," he whispered. Adam put a hand on his shoulder. Behind the boulders, Elise's voice came again, sharper now. "She's alive, but weak. We need the response kit and another set of hands." Mateo ran back to the truck. The seal pup tried to follow, dragging itself toward the rocks. Noah stepped forward instinctively. Elise appeared above the boulders and pointed. "Do not let the pup climb onto the rocks." Adam moved before Noah could. He did not touch the animal, but he stepped between the pup and the rocks, making himself a quiet barrier. The pup cried, frustrated and exhausted, but stopped. Mateo returned with gloves, cutting tools, towels, and a carrier. A second rescue truck arrived within minutes, bringing 2 more trained responders and a veterinarian named Dr. Priya Shah. They worked quickly but carefully, speaking in clipped, focused sentences. The adult seal was wedged in a narrow channel where the tide had likely pushed her during the night. A length of discarded fishing net had wrapped around her neck and one front flipper, snagging on rocks and holding her in place. Every time she struggled, the net tightened. She had probably hauled herself partly onto the rocks to rest or free herself, then become trapped as the tide dropped. The pup must have crawled away, searching for help, or searching for anyone. Noah watched the rescuers from the sand with tears running silently down his face. Adam noticed and knelt beside him. "Hey." Noah wiped his face angrily with his sleeve. It knew. The baby knew. Adam's throat tightened. Maybe it did. "No, Dad. It followed me because its mom was stuck." Adam pulled him close. For a moment, Noah resisted. Then he leaned into his father's chest as if suddenly very tired. "I don't want it to lose its mom, too," he whispered. Adam closed his eyes. There it was, the thing neither of them had been able to say plainly all these months. I don't want it to lose its mom, too. Adam held Noah tighter. "I know," he said. His voice broke. "I know." On the rocks, the rescue intensified. Dr. Shah managed to sedate the adult seal lightly enough to reduce panic without risking her breathing. The rescuers covered her eyes with a wet towel to calm her. Elise used a hooked safety cutter to slice through the net strand by strand, while another responder held the seal steady and protected her injured flipper. It took nearly half an hour. The whole time the pup cried from the sand. Sometimes the adult seal answered weakly. Each response made the pup lift its head, and each time Noah whispered, "She's still alive." Finally, Elise shouted, "Net is clear!" The rescuers moved the adult seal onto a marine stretcher and carried her carefully off the rocks. She was larger than Noah expected, sleek and gray, with wounds where the net had cut into her skin. Her eyes were closed, but her chest moved. The pup became frantic. It tried to rush forward, stumbling over its flippers. Dr. Shaw held up a hand. Wait, we need to assess them both. Noah could barely stand still. Adam kept one hand on his shoulder. The pup was examined first from a careful distance, then guided gently into a soft restraint by the trained team. It was dehydrated and exhausted, but not injured. The adult female was worse. The net had cut deeply near the shoulder and she was weak from struggling, but Dr. Shaw said the wounds were treatable. Can she go back to the ocean? Noah asked. Dr. Shaw looked at him kindly. Not today. Noah's face fell. She needs medical care first, Elise explained. And so does the pup. But if they're stable, we can keep them near each other at the rehabilitation center. Will the baby know? Elise smiled softly. Yes, they know. The pup was placed in a separate ventilated carrier beside its mother's stretcher. The moment the carriers were close, the crying changed. It became softer, less desperate. The adult seal lifted her head slightly despite the medication and made a low sound. The pup answered. Noah let out a breath he had been holding. Everyone saw it then. The reason the tiny seal had followed him along the beach was lying only a few yards away, an injured mother trapped in netting, hidden behind rocks, too weak to escape and too far from the water to survive the next hours alone. Without the pup, no one would have checked the point in time. Without Noah stopping to listen, the pup might have collapsed on the sand. Without Adam calling rescue, the mother might have died where no beachgoer could see her. The Marine rescue team loaded both seals into the truck. Before they closed the back doors, Elise turned to Noah. Would you like to name the pup for our records? Noah looked startled. I can? Temporary name only, just so we know who we're talking about. Noah looked at the little seal in the carrier. Its huge dark eyes watched him through the vent holes. Pebble, he said. Elise nodded. Pebble it is. And the mom? Dr. Shaw smiled. You can name her too. Noah thought for a moment. Marina, he said, because she belongs to the sea. Adam looked away toward the waves. The rescue truck drove off toward the Cape Haven Marine Rehabilitation Center. The beach felt suddenly enormous without it. The wind moved over the sand. Gulls circled above the rocks. The tide continued its slow withdrawal as if nothing extraordinary had happened. Noah stood quietly with his bucket at his feet. Adam said, You saved them. Noah shook his head. Pebble saved her mom. You helped. Noah looked up at him, eyes red from crying. What if we hadn't listened? Adam's face softened with something like pain. But we did. That afternoon, Adam and Noah drove to the rehabilitation center because Elise had promised to call with updates, and Noah had asked every 6 minutes whether they knew anything yet. The center stood near the harbor behind a low chain-link fence with salt-stained buildings, outdoor pools, and signs warning visitors not to approach wildlife without staff. Elise met them in the small reception area. Marina is stable, she said before Noah could ask. Her wounds are deep but clean now. We removed the remaining net fibers. Pebble is resting. They're vocalizing to each other, which is good. Noah's shoulders lowered. Can I see them? Through the observation window, very quietly. She led them down a hallway smelling of disinfectant, fish, and seawater. Through a thick window, Noah saw 2 separate recovery pens side by side. Marina lay on a padded mat, eyes half open, bandages visible near one flipper. Pebble rested in the next pen, tucked like a gray loaf, facing her mother. When Pebble lifted his head, Marina made a soft rumbling sound. Noah pressed both hands to the glass. Adam gently pulled him back an inch. Sorry, Noah whispered. Elise stood beside them. He's a determined little pup. Noah nodded. He didn't give up. No, Elise said, he didn't. For the rest of their stay in Cape Haven, Noah asked to visit the center almost every day. Not every visit was allowed, and when it was, they only watched from the observation area. No touching, no calling, no trying to make the seals look at him. Elise explained that wild animals needed to remain wild. The best kind of love sometimes was distance. Noah understood that more than most adults expected. Pebble gained strength quickly. Within days, he was eating fish slurry from staff and spending short, supervised periods in a shallow pool. Marina's recovery was slower. Infection was the greatest concern. She needed antibiotics, fluids, wound care, and rest. Some days she seemed brighter, other days she refused food and lay still long enough that Noah's stomach twisted. On one difficult afternoon, Dr. Shaw explained that Marina might not survive. Noah did not speak for the whole drive back to the cottage. That evening, Adam found him sitting on the back steps watching the dark beach. "Do you want to talk?" Adam asked. "No?" Adam sat beside him anyway. For a long time, neither of them said anything. Then Noah asked, "Did Mom know she was going to die?" Adam's breath caught. The question had waited in the house for months, hidden behind homework and dishes and bedtime routines. Adam stared out at the waves. "Yes," he said quietly. "Near the end, I think she knew." Noah's lips trembled. "Why didn't she tell me?" "She didn't want you to be scared." "I was scared anyway." Adam closed his eyes. "I know." Noah's voice cracked. "I didn't get to save her." Adam turned to him fully then, heartbreaking in a way that felt both old and brand new. "Oh, Noah, that was never your job." "But Pebble saved his mom." "Pebble found help," Adam said gently. "That's different." Noah looked at him through tears. Adam's voice shook. "And your mom had help. Doctors, nurses, me, you. She was loved every single day. That matters, even when we can't stop what happens." Noah began to cry, not the quiet tears from the beach, but deep sobs that seemed to come from a place he had been guarding for too long. Adam pulled him close. This time, Noah did not resist. The waves kept coming in the dark, one after another, steady and endless. Marina survived the night, then another, then a week. By the time Adam and Noah's vacation ended, Dr. Shaw said both seals had a strong chance of full recovery and release. Noah cried again when they had to leave, but this time the crying felt different. Sad, yes, but not helpless. Elise promised to send updates. She kept that promise. Back home, 2 hours inland, Noah received emails with photos and notes. Pebble learned to chase fish in the pool. Marina's wounds healed into pale scars. The two seals spent more time in the larger outdoor enclosure, swimming side by side. Marina regained weight. Pebble grew rounder, stronger, louder. Noah printed every photo and taped them to the wall above his desk. At school, when his teacher asked everyone to write about something important that happened over summer break, Noah wrote 12 pages about ghost nets, marine rescue, seal pups, and why people should never leave fishing gear in the ocean. His teacher sent the essay to the local newspaper. A week later, Noah's story appeared under the headline, "Boy Helps Save Seal and Pup After Beach Rescue." Noah was embarrassed. Adam bought 3 copies. The article led to more attention than either of them expected. Noah's class organized a beach cleanup, even though the nearest beach was 2 hours away and required 2 buses, 4 parent volunteers, and an unreasonable number of permission slips. Cape Haven Marine Rescue sent educational materials. Elise video called the class and explained how discarded nets, plastic bands, and fishing line harmed marine animals. Noah stood at the front of the room and held up a printed photo of Pebble. "This is why you have to look carefully," he told his classmates. "Sometimes an animal is trying to tell you something." In late autumn, the email finally came. Subject, Pebble and Marina release. Date, Noah read it 3 times before running downstairs. "Dad!" Adam thought something terrible had happened from the way he shouted. Instead, Noah skidded into the kitchen holding the printed message. "They're going home." The release was scheduled for a cold, clear morning in November at a protected stretch of beach north of Cape Haven. Adam took the day off work without hesitation. They drove before sunrise, the car heater humming, Noah holding a thermos of hot chocolate and saying almost nothing the entire way. When they reached the beach, the Marine Rescue Team was already there. A small group of staff and volunteers stood near 2 transport carriers. The ocean glittered steel blue under the morning sky. Wind pushed whitecaps toward shore. Elise waved them over. "You made it." Noah nodded, suddenly shy. Dr. Shaw crouched beside him. "They're both ready." Noah looked at the carriers. Pebble was much bigger now, still small compared with his mother, but no longer fragile. Marina looked strong and alert, her scars barely visible beneath her sleek fur. The release was simple, no speeches, no crowd, just open doors and the sound of waves. Marina came out first, pausing on the sand, lifting her head to smell the air. Pebble emerged seconds later, bumped clumsily into her side, and looked around as if surprised by how large the world had become. For one moment, they both faced the people. Noah held his breath. Then Marina turned toward the sea. Pebble followed. They moved awkwardly over the sand, then more smoothly as the water reached them. A wave washed around Marina's body. She slid into it, effortless, home again. Pebble hesitated at the foam line, then plunged after her. Noah laughed through tears. The two seals surfaced beyond the first break. Pebble bobbed beside his mother, dark eyes bright above the water. Then Marina dove. Pebble followed. They surfaced once more, farther out, side by side. Then they disappeared into the glittering Atlantic. Noah stood very still. Adam rested a hand on his shoulder. "You okay?" Noah nodded. "I'm sad." "I know." "But good sad," Noah said, searching for the right words. Adam smiled faintly. "Good sad?" "Like when something leaves because it's supposed to." Adam looked out at the sea. "Yes," he said softly. "Exactly like that." That winter something changed between father and son. Not all at once. Grief did not vanish because two seals returned to the ocean. Noah still missed his mother with an ache that came suddenly at strange moments. When he saw her favorite cereal at the store, when he smelled her shampoo on an old scarf, when his class made Mother's Day cards and he didn't know what to do with his hands. Adam still had days when he stood too long at the kitchen sink staring out at nothing. But they talked now, not always easily, not always without tears. Still they talked, sometimes about Noah's mother, sometimes about Pebble and Marina, sometimes about how saving someone and loving someone were not the same as keeping them forever. In spring, Noah and Adam returned to Brindle Beach. The cottage looked smaller than Noah remembered. The path through the dunes was lined with new grass. A sign near the beach entrance now included a notice about reporting stranded seals and cleaning up fishing debris, with a photo from the rescue printed in the corner. Noah stood in front of it, embarrassed again. Adam grinned. "Local celebrity." "Stop." They walked along the same stretch of sand where Pebble had first followed him. The tide was low. The rocks at the point gleamed dark and wet. Gulls called overhead. Noah carried no bucket this time. He just walked. Near the tide pools, Adam stopped. "Noah." Out beyond the break, two seals surfaced, one larger, one smaller. It could have been any two seals. The ocean was full of lives people only glimpsed from shore. There was no way to know for certain. But the smaller seal turned toward the beach and bobbed in the water for several long seconds. Noah smiled. "Hi, Pebble," he whispered. The seals dove together. For a while, Noah and Adam watched the empty water. Then Noah slipped his hand into his father's. Adam looked down, surprised. Noah kept looking at the sea. "Dad? Yeah?" "I'm glad we listened." Adam squeezed his hand. "Me too." Years later, Noah would still remember that morning whenever he saw waves sliding up a beach. He would remember the tiny seal following him through the foam, crying in a voice too small for such a wide world. He would remember the rocks, the net, the injured mother, and the moment everyone finally understood. He would also remember the harder things, his father's arms around him on the cottage steps, the truth that some goodbyes cannot be stopped, the strange comfort of helping something return to where it belongs. The story people told was simple. A tiny seal followed a boy along the beach, and then everyone saw the reason. But for Noah, the real reason grew larger with time. Pebble had followed him because love is brave when it has no other choice, because even a small, frightened creature can go looking for help, because sometimes when grief teaches you that not everyone can be saved, the world gently gives you one life you can help carry back to the sea. And on every beach Noah visited after that, he listened more carefully to gulls, to waves, to small cries in the wind, to the quiet truth his mother had once told him when he was little and afraid of storms. When something needs kindness, Noah, you'll know. You just have to be willing to stop.